I was asked a question recently about nerves involved in barrel racing, and I think this is probably the biggest topic next to the actual skill sets you need to barrel race. If you can't handle your nerves and your emotions and how you're going to perform under pressure, then all of the hours you spent working on actually getting to that point of competition is going to kind of go down the drain. We might be performing at home at almost 100%, and we go to a barrel race and we start our performance, we go down so much because of our emotional energy we carry into that competition. And I am going to shed some light on a few things that I have learned that have really helped me conquer the fear and intimidation and the nerves that go into barrel racing and pretty much any competition that requires you to perform at your best in a given second. Because we all know barrel racing is kind of interesting in that way where we have to stay really calm and focused, but then all of a sudden we go freaking buck wild down the chute and we have to perform at our top level and be on in a second. And that's kind of hard. And a lot of sports like golf, or if you're doing martial arts or something, their amount of on is a lot different, and their amount of energy that they take into those last few seconds, if they're going to win or lose, is a lot different. And if you're in golf, you have to stay really calm, and that might be where like your top levels at is in a more calm state, but you're still very focused and very on. Whereas something else where you need more adrenaline, it's going to look a lot different. Where I think barrel racing, it's a very fine line of calm versus adrenaline rush, and just being quick, snappy, and quick with your mind in those 15 seconds you're in the arena, which can be difficult, and it's definitely a never-ending thing that we're all trying to work through. And here's a few tips that I have learned over the years of riding and competing that I would like to share with you. The one being is there's a lot of things you can do without even riding and being in the saddle. And right now it is more winter, not a lot of riding going on, which is a little disappointing, but it happens. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking a break and looking at other aspects that you can change and improve that will eventually translate over into your riding abilities. And that is my favorite thing. Like, there's so many things that we can do that have nothing to do with actually horses or riding that will help us in the saddle. And especially on this off season, it's good to look into those things and see how outside elements can actually help us later on. So the one being is breathing. People don't even acknowledge or appreciate the fact that they breathe. And breathing fuels us. It gets us either high or low. And when we aren't breathing, our bodies change and we might not be as focused, and our anxiety. And if we can breathe through those things, I think it's really going to help being able to tap into that ability in a high stress situation like their name's calling you in a barrel race. If you're able to just focus on breathing, it's going to be a game changer. And it also is just helping with being in a present moment. If you're able to teach yourself and train and work on yourself to be more present and not thinking about either the future, the past, or whatever, it's going to help you in the long run, and definitely it's going to help you in the barrel race arena. Just to focus on, this is where I'm at. I haven't gotten the pen yet. We're going to go eventually, but right now we're sitting here. Nothing's happened. I'm going to breathe. I'm not going to think about the million things that have to go on in the barrel pen. We're just here in this moment. And I found that has helped me so much, just being able to stay a lot more calmer and not get anxious about my run. So I've had a lot of futurity horses, and just the thought of more a high pressure situation, and of course all the Calcuttas that we're in definitely don't help. But you just have to think about, this is where I'm at, nothing matters, just what I'm doing. And you just breathe, 5, and I like to count it so my mind's focused on the counts and the numbers, and then that's kind of where I'm at. And I know that we all have the ability to do well. And I read this once in a book called Mind Gym, we all have the ability and the skills to do pretty good, but when we compete, we lose that. So if we just focus on the fact that we all have it, we showed up to the race knowing how to ride and knowing how to do a barrel pattern, like we do it at home, no problem. So what should change? Nothing should. So just remind yourself of that we all have the skills. You have the skills in place to perform pretty well. And focus on that, and don't focus on the million things that you want to do in your run. Just focus on being in the moment. And hopefully, or eventually, it will translate into how you actually do perform. And it's a great feeling knowing that you go in there, you're not crazy nervous, and you're gonna go with a very clean mind and not full of clutter and everything else like that. So definitely the breathing exercises. And the other thing that kind of is a bit of a correlation with that is yoga and just exercising. And again, these are things obviously that don't involve horses, which is great. And it's just good with your off season to work on bettering yourself, because there's absolutely there's nothing wrong with doing that. You're not gonna have a negative effect by doing yoga, by meditating, by exercising regularly. Like, these have absolutely zero negative effects on you, and it's gonna help you. It's gonna help your mind state, your mental state, and that's gonna help you how you ride. Like, it just makes sense. Everything has momentum, and if you make one thing, it's gonna snowball effect into a lot more aspects. And if you kind of think about things like that, thinking about what's one thing I can do today that is gonna help me snowball effect into something else. And just think of one little itty bitty thing that you can do, and I guarantee you it's gonna give you the momentum to think, you know what, I can do something else. And you know what, maybe I can go to the gym now, because you allowed yourself to do that one positive good thing. It has no choice but to snowball effect into other areas of your life. The other thing as well with just all that, it has to do with mostly personal growth. And barrel racing is mostly, it's a very personal sport. It only really includes us and our horse, and we are in charge of our horse. So it really is ultimately up to us how we're gonna do, and that's gonna transition into how our horses do. So always think it's up to us. Our horses don't make mistakes. Our horses listens to us. So if a horse does something wrong, it's because of us 99% of the time. So the other thing with that is try learning every day. Work your mind, have a strong, healthy mind, learn things, anything that interests you, try and learn one thing a day. And by doing that, you're gonna it'll help with your mindset and your mental state. And like, this is the big picture I'm trying to show you and explain, is that the big picture, it has to do with everything. And if we work on all these little things, it's going to help our big picture, either in barrel racing or just in general in life. Like, if we're able to do just even these few things that I just listed, those are such a great way to start and help you either realize, acknowledge, and actually work towards these. So, in just a recap, being present, breathing exercises, working on your body, working on your mind, you can't go wrong. And I feel like I'm being repetitive, but I just feel it so much with the whole fitness stuff and how much of a difference it's made without me even wanting to. If I started working out, it changed my mindset about food. And I've totally changed my diet, not totally, but I've changed my diet quite a lot to be a lot more healthier, literally because I started working out and participating in yoga a bit more. And it doesn't even have to be a lot. If you don't have time to go to the gym, for myself, I at least want to do 10 or 15 minutes of a couple relaxing stretches before bed. And it makes a big difference. And the one thing actually that I read once that I always think about is, we talk ourselves out of doing things that make us feel so good. So the next time you're sitting on your phone and you're just kind of literally killing time, like this is literally dead time that's doing nothing for you, think about, what can I do right now that is going to help me and do something good for myself, either my body or my mind. What is something that I can do? And when you start taking your evenings like that, instead of just wasting your night to go to bed, like watch TV all night and then you go to sleep, like you really did nothing productive or beneficial to you in those couple hours that you were binge watching Netflix. So think about something, or just be mindful. Like what I said, when you're being more mindful in the present moment, you're going to think about, what am I doing that's not like that's going to help me? And when you kind of ask that question before you do stuff, it might change your outlook on some of your current habits that you have. So take advantage of this winter and off season of barrel racing and work on you. Do things that you can do without riding that your horse is going to thank you for later. And I guarantee you're going to feel so much better going down the alley at your first race. If you practice these things on the daily, they're going to come over into that run and you're going to feel a big difference. So I wish you all the best. And if you have any sort of questions about the things I've talked about, I've been going through them all for quite a while. So I've kind of figured out how they should work. And yeah, like if you have any questions at all, just let me know. And thank you for watching, and I hope this was helpful. Trying to promote a few more videos. I have a podcast also coming out, which I think this is going to maybe be a part of. If not this video, I'm going to talk about this a lot more because it is just so important to me and I feel like it might be overlooked by some other people, but definitely these are things that will help for sure. So thank you for watching.